What's up, guys? Talk about how this, there was a gap from when I was a kid to now to about 3 years ago when I got back into this. And I wasn't into the whole cryptid or Bigfoot or any of this stuff at all my whole life. But from when I was a kid and I had that happen to me, I just marked it off as it being a big dog or bear, then stored it in the back of my mind and basically forgot about it. And anytime anybody talked about Bigfoot or any of that stuff, I just never thought any of it was real, my whole life. Till about 3 years ago. It was springtime and I was mushroom hunting, and I'm finding these mushrooms right off the road. Like, here's the gravel road that comes out through, and there's about 20 feet of just woods right off the road onto a hillside. Well, I was finding them right there in that little, it was like a little ditch area. I was finding mushrooms. Then I found them going up the hill. So I started following them up the hill. And this hill's steep. I mean, it's like that. I mean, you're scaling it, It's a horrible hike up that hill. I mean, you're on your, digging your feet in and using your hands getting up it. But when I get to the top of that hill, I'm picking mushrooms all the way up, working my way up, and then I get up there and it kind of rounds off with a few trees. And I'm finding a couple right there on the little flat spot, and then it goes up another 10 foot. Then you're on top of the high wall. Well, I'm on that flat spot finding these mushrooms. And this is where it all started coming back to, like full circle from when I was a kid. And I'm up there picking the mushrooms, and all of a sudden, behind me, I start hearing this, what sounded like two old men, like, just, and then I hear another one, like they was walking together, carrying a conversation back and forth with one another. And then they're laughing, like they're like, oh, like, it sounded like super drunk old men, like the way my grandpas used to sit around and play cards and around their card table and just be smashed, and I couldn't understand a word they were saying. They were just kind of mumbling back and forth to each other. But that's what it reminded me of, And I'm thinking, and they're just above me on this other little incline to the top of the high wall. They're just above me. And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, man, I gotta get down before these guys see me. They're gonna see where I'm finding these mushrooms. So I duck down, make myself small, I'm crouched down on the ground in a little ball, kind of hiding so up above they're not seeing me. They're coming right past me now. And I'm sitting there focusing, listening, like, what are these guys talking about? They are having one heck of a conversation with one another. And then I start, like, getting a little nervous, like, man, these guys are tanked. I better let them know I'm here before I mess around and get shot and scare them or something like that. Someone pulls a gun out and shoots me because they're freaking out or something. So, like I said, they're walking, and their conversation's going back and forth. It's like gibberish, drunk gibberish. And they're laughing. Sound like they was having a good old time to me, And I'm thinking, how in the heck did these guys that drunk get up here? I better start making some noise and let them know I'm up here too so I don't get shot. So I stand up, and I start walking heavy. There's still leaves, branches on the ground, stuff like that. And I'm stepping on branches, just making noise now, not trying to hide myself. Well, I notice it's silent, like everything's silent. And I start walking out, and the only way you can either scale where I came up, which there's no way drunk people can get up that without rolling down it or whatever, or the direction they was heading, there's a gradual slope that goes down, and that was the way I was going to take out, and that's the direction they was heading. So I started heading that direction too, the direction I thought they was heading. Well, where I was at and the high wall, it all meets down together. It was where I was gonna meet with where they was heading. Like we would all came out at the same spot, you know. And I get out there and I'm looking around and there's nobody there, nobody around whatsoever. And, you know, I'm looking back at the top of the high wall, just above where I was ducked down. There's nobody standing up there. The other side's a straight drop off, you know, 100-foot drop down to the pond below. They didn't go down that way. They didn't backtrack because that's another drop off. The way I came up, or this gradual slope right here that I'm exiting, is the only way that I could have figured drunk guys could have got up there. And I get there and there's nobody around. It's silence, dead silence. And I'm blown away. It's like, man, this is weird. Where did these guys go? There's nobody here. And I just keep thinking how weird it is and work myself down out of the woods, you know, back to the road. And I get down to the road and there's no cars anywhere. And this is way out in the hills, you know. I'm talking to my wife. She's out there looking at me like, what are you doing? But, you know, and there's nobody around. I just think, man, there's no way, as drunk as them dudes sounded, they could have just disappeared like that or even walked all the way down this road and found that he climbed up this hill, you know. And I get in my car, and the whole time I'm just sitting there thinking, like, this is odd. I drive all the way down to the end of the road, no cars anywhere. Drive all the way back to the main highway, no cars anywhere. And, you know, I thought about it on my way home, and I end up just marking it off as just a weird experience in the woods, you know. But then I, you know, just forgot about it, whatever. It's like, okay, that was just a weird day. Found a bunch of mushrooms, though. And then I went home and forgot about it. And that was early spring, you know, mushroom season. That following winter. It was just, you know, just as COVID was starting and everything. It wasn't in the U.S. yet, they wasn't saying, but my boy was sicker than a dog with some new respiratory illness. And I was all fired up, just pissed off about everything, and I had to get out in the woods. I went back out there, and snow on the ground. I started hiking through the woods. And that was that following winter, and that's when the real journey started. When I started hearing more stuff out there, I started finding stuff, and that's where it all kicked up again. But yeah, the drunk guys up on the hill, I don't think they was guys at all. And looking back now, we've all seen these caveman movies where they're just, you know how they sound and stuff. That's exactly what this sounded like to me. And just, you know, it amazed me, these things, they was holding a conversation back and forth with one another. Talking like you and I. And even laughing. You know what I mean? Pretty wild stuff, man. But you guys have a good one. Peace.